We are in Champions League, man.
That was my next
Dilly din, dilly dong, come on.
Encara Messi, 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 gol, 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 gol.
Into Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it!
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
This is the Modern Soccer Coach Podcast with Gary Curneen.
Aguero!
Hello, welcome to the Modern Soccer Coach Podcast. My name is Gary Curneen. Joining me for this episode is Christopher Hughes. He is a pre-academy football coach in Salford. Also works as a foundation coach for Manchester United. Has a couple of books out as well. Complete series to coaching 4 to 6 year olds on Amazon. So this one is a little bit different. We haven't covered this age group before. A lot about coaching philosophy, how is it adapted to young players, the influence of the coach, getting the balance between an entertainer and a facilitator, and then of course the role of parents as well. How do you manage parents at this age group? Some great stuff from Chris. Would love to hear your thoughts at Gary Curneen on Twitter, at Gary Curneen on Instagram. Just real quick, if you're listening to this on Monday morning, there is 24 hours left of the Black Friday Thanksgiving sale on the Modern Soccer Coach website. There's a 2-for-1 deal on the books. There's also $5 deal on the webinars. So modernsoccercoach.com/shop. Go there. If you missed this message and you get it after it closes on the Monday night, don't worry, shoot me an email and I'll get you an access code to get you the deal either on the webinars or on the 2-for-1 deal on the book. So thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. As always, here is Christopher. Enjoy. Chris, thanks so much for joining me today on the Modern Soccer Coach Podcast. Really excited to have you on.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's a real honour to be on the show.
We've never done this age group before, so this is going to be interesting. We've had a few coaches on here that have described their coaching philosophy, and reading your books, none of them have used the words love, learning, and laughing. So talk us through those 3 key points there that you're making with your own philosophy.
Yeah, so obviously from my coaching philosophy, it's a bit different than, say, an open age team or an under 12s. Obviously, all the boys and girls that we coach are sort of age 2 to 6. So my philosophy is to leave a really positive impact on every child that comes through our doors, through love, learning and laughing. It's really important to me that the kids feel loved. So I try to create an atmosphere of love, like super friendliness and a culture of love at all our sessions, so that when each kid comes in, they feel sort of really inspired, and they never forget how special that we made them feel, really. So at my sessions, I know every single kid's name. I coach about 500 kids through the week, like Monday to Sunday. All under 5 years old. I know every single one's name. So when they come in, it's like a really big smile. It's as if a celebrity's just walked in the room. We give them a high five. We use the name as much and as often as possible. And at the end of the session, we do a little routine. So it's like high fives. Who can give themselves a pat on the back and say, well done me? Who can give yourself a pat on the chest and say, I am the best? And so really the love side is just to make them feel really cared for and special. And I think that can sort of like position them then for a lifetime success in and out of football, and that they feel confident and like they have a high self-esteem, really. So that's sort of the love side. The laughing is obviously just to keep everything at that age group like super positive, so that they want to keep coming back, they have fun. We don't take anything serious, really. Like the main focus is just on just having fun and loads of laughing. Obviously, when they're laughing, they're learning, and they don't really always, even notice that they're learning. So it could be that we're teaching them about like road safety or brushing the teeth or anything like that. But as long as they're laughing, then they're having really fun. So, and also, we just want to make sure that it's open to everybody. So at 4 and 6 years old, it doesn't matter whether they come in and we think like they're an unbelievable footballer, or whether it's the first experience and they've never kicked a ball before. It doesn't really matter. We just want to welcome them and make sure that they have a good time.
a lot of coaches that are maybe not as young as this age group, but a lot of coaches would be thinking that, I'll enjoy that. Yeah, it's welcoming. Our club's welcoming. Our club's about learning. But when it comes to laughing, I think we're almost programmed to think that laughing distracts, or laughing maybe then you lose a little bit of discipline or a little bit of control of the group. What's your
Yeah,
thought on that?
I think that laughing just totally engages the group, especially at that age group. Because if you come in and it's like, right, today, kids, we're going to be using both feet and we're going to be dribbling in and out of these cones, and on you go ahead, and they're just dribbling in and out, and there's no imagination, there's no fun, there's no laughing. Then a kid at that age is just going to be like totally bored and just think, well, they might not even think that because they're still so young, but the parents will think, um, is this really the place that I want my kid to be coming? Is it super serious? He's only 5 years old. He should be enjoying the football and enjoying themselves. So I think at this particular age group, then laughing is very important. So it's little things like the other week we was playing about Halloween, and so I was pretending to be a ghost. So during the demonstration, the kids were learning to stop the ball, and the ball was a pumpkin, and so we said that ghosts are not scared of anything except for pumpkins. So as the kids were dribbling, the ghost would be running around, which was me, and if I got close to the kid, they'd have to stop the ball and show me the pumpkin, and then at that point I would like run away screaming, pretend to be looking one way, and like hit my head off a wall, but not actually, obviously just pretending. Then I'd fall down, and the kids would just think that was really like brilliant. They'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so funny!" He's just like run into a wall, fell over. Then the next thing all the kids want to do then is actually dribble. As soon as I come up to them, they want to stop the ball because they know that that's going to create a reaction and it's going to be funny. And so actually we're getting them to do things that we want, but they don't really realise it, like they're learning to stop the ball when they want to with control, but they're doing it not because of the football they're using, because of the fun element of it.
Yeah, it's interesting that I know we've had Tom Byer on before, and he was talking about the really young age group, and he was talking about football at home and how
Yeah,
instead of encouraging your kid to just smack the ball around, encourage them to dribble around, and everyone is like, yeah, that's the way it should be. And my oldest was 2 at the time, and he was just smacking the ball left, right, and centre. So so I thought that there. I was like, all right, so I'll change now. Actually, I'll get him to encourage him to dribble. And it didn't
yeah.
change anything. He's still smacking the ball around the house. But it's until you actually change the games or the circumstance, the conditions, that he thinks about it.
Yeah, we get it now. So we have some kids that've been coming for 2 years, and all they want to do is smack the ball. So we'll do all this like great, like we'll do these great games, these fun games. They'll be dribbling for half an hour. It'll come to the little matches at the end, the little 3v3s, and all they want to do is just smack the ball, and you're just like pulling your hair out. But you think that first half an hour is dribbling, controlling, and each week that goes by, they get a little bit better and a little bit better, and then one day he might just take one touch before he smacks the ball, and you think like, okay, that's like a little positive, and you just build on it. But obviously at that age group, they have so much pleasure from scoring goals, so they just smack it. So this is like trying to just ease them out of just smacking the ball every time. You get it?
What was your inspiration to work with this age group?
Yeah, so I've always worked with this age group really. So when I was 16, I was playing myself, and then I stopped and started taking my cousin, who was sort of 3 at the time, to like fun sessions like this. And as sort of like parents or uncles or cousins do, just asked to get involved. So I started to get involved, and really like I was good at it. So the kids. The parents really like the sessions that I was putting on, and the kids were engaging with me. They found it fun, and it just kept coming back. So really, I suppose in a way I was just good at it, and that's why I like to work with that age group.
Was it your enthusiasm for it, your ability to make them laugh? What was it that you were good at?
Yeah, I think just the enthusiasm. I think I can make a really bad session and like good, and alternatively a really good coach can make a really good session really bad, without, if they've not got the enthusiasm for it or the patience for the kids, and they can't remember the kids' names or things like that, then yeah, it just doesn't go well. So I think it's just to get down onto that level of like a 5-year-old kid, and be willing in front of parents, which a lot of coaches that I age group aren't willing to do it, is to make yourself look a bit of a fool sometimes, but it's all for the benefit of the kids.
Here's one I want to ask you. So whenever you're doing, and I've used to do camps at this age group as well, and it is hard work. So I have nothing but respect for you here. But whenever you're putting all these games together and you're talking about laughing and you're talking about love, you're really, really involved. That can be an exhausting process. So whenever you then go to, you've got matches in your curriculum at 4 to 6 years of age. So when you go to the games at the end, how much of a hands-on activity are you as a coach after being almost an entertainer for some of the session?
Yeah, definitely. Starts at like those first 30 minutes, like, you'll be absolutely sweating, it like takes it out of you. And so for those last, that sort of like other 30 minutes when it's like a little 3v3s, I'm quite involved, but it's more of a case of, there's no real rules to it really. We just set out a particular area in the hall or on the field, and we'll give them a ball, 2 goals in quite a small area, 3v3 maximum. And basically the rules are for the children, 1 off the pitch at any time. So constantly you're just shouting, only 1 off the pitch, only 1 off the pitch, and like by week 1 you'll have like all 6 off the pitch, chasing the ball, bring it back on, start again. But then by like a month's time you'll just get like 1 child running off, constantly shouting, no hands, because obviously all they want to do is just, basically at that age when they can't control it yet, they know they can control it with the hands, so they just pick it up. So basically, not that hands-on, more acts as just like, a basic referee. But like I say, the rules of that are really simple: a ball, 2 goals, 1 off the pitch, and no hands.
Your animations in the book, absolutely fantastic. The zombies, the rock stars, dragons, superheroes, brilliant. Every game has a story. Is that what one of your principles are for your session design?
Yeah, definitely. So there's this really cool website called Twinkle, like without the E at the end, and they put like term planners together. So for primary schools, so they'll have like an autumn term, a spring term, but each week it'll say like what children are learning at school that week. So it could be like like children in need week, advent calendars and things like that. And so we just try and match the game, or I try and match the game to what the kids are learning at school that week. Or if there's not really anything going on, we could just do something like collecting conkers or dinosaurs or rock stars or zombies, and then we try and build the game up around one of sort of 7 basic skills, which is controlling the ball with both feet, controlling the ball with the sole of the foot, moving left and right with the ball, moving forward with the ball and stopping, turning in tricks, protecting the ball and shooting. So we try and make the story around one of those 7 basic skills.
What would you judge success at that youth level? Is it the improvement that you're talking about after those few weeks, or is it the having fun? Does it change with every player? Does it change with every location?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the most important thing for me is that they come, they have fun, and that they enjoy it. But then ultimately, if we've got a player that's striving ahead of all the other children, then ultimately, like, we look to improve them. So there might be little things like during the first part of the ball mastery game. So it might be something like, as you dribble to a cone, can you turn or go past it? And so for 11 children, it might be, can you get to that cone and turn past it? But for the other 1 child, it might be, can you do like a V shape, turn back or cut the ball back? Can you do a Cruyff turn? And so we'll just sort of like jump in there and say, right, this is a little challenge for you. This is only for big boys or big girls can do this. Can you jump in and you show me this trick? And can you just try and replicate it? And like I said, again, you might be striving, but they still can't do that trick. and so that'll just be something that we'll work on throughout the weeks. It might be a kid comes to us and that, you know, socially they're a little bit awkward and things like that. So it can just be like making friends, and that'll be like a massive improvement if you know, we can get them engaging and making friends, talking to the other boys and girls. So yeah, that's success for us if we can get everybody involved, I suppose, at this grassroots level.
$1 million question now. How much of a role do the parents have during the sessions?
Yeah, well, so Tom Byer has been like sort of a massive inspiration for this. When I first started, it was sort of I was coaching younger children, and some of the parents had wanted like the next stage. So I first tried to do sort of, you know, proper, as in brackets, sessions, and quickly realised that at 5, you know, they sort of, in my opinion, still wasn't ready. So I sort of I'd been reading the book anyway, Soccer Starts at Home, and how like important parents are. So for me, parents are massive, because at the end of the day, we only get them for 1 hour a week. So we can say no hands, we can say, you know, one play off the pitch, and we can do as much as we can, but it's only an hour. So parents are hugely important to take them to the park, play at home, do anything just to get them involved. And then what we do at our club is try and get one parent involved. So we do 9 till 10 and then 10 till 11 on a Saturday morning, and we try and get one parent involved and like we teach them to coach. I teach them like our games and stuff, and then when they move on next year, hopefully then that parent has been sort of taught by us, and they understand my philosophy of love, learning and laughing, and then when they're 6 and 7, they're still hopefully you know, using that philosophy and that learning style, so that they take it on. So yeah, parents are really, really important.
Oh, that's a great idea. Great idea. So you're almost then educating the parents in some respect to not only then help you with your sessions, but then whenever you move on, then they're going to be able to possibly go into the community or stay in the game and help in some way.
Yeah, so it's our sort of you know, in reception, which is under 5s over here, I coach them for like the whole year, and they get a parent or usually a dad to assist me, and so he'll sort of watch me for a few weeks, a few months doing sessions, and then he'll take part of that session, and then sort of the final 3 months of the year, I'll sort of take a step back, and one of the dads will take like sort of total control of the team, and then when they move up then to under 6s, it's the idea that dad will take over that team, and then we'll get the new under 5s boys, but he'll take over that team, carry on for another year with these games, and then when under 7s and the league starts, and then I suppose it's up to dad to, you know, coach how he sees fit. But for that next year, it's still about, you know, this book really, and this structure and system that we have in place.
How many locations do you have, or how many classes do you have?
Yeah, so currently we've got two locations in Salford in Manchester, Salford Storm FC and Earlham Vale. So we've got these 2 clubs. What we're looking to do is hopefully have maybe 2 more. So Earlham and Langworthy are around about 5 miles apart. So we're looking to add another 2 around about 5 miles apart, and then that way we can hopefully then at under 6s have a couple of like, you know, in-house matches and then friendly games against each other, so that all the kids can come and play against each other, and there's no sort of poaching, fortunately.
When do the Nevilles and the Giggs and the Beckhams get involved then? Is that when they're older?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. It's been something that I've thought about, you know, if they'd be, you know, wanting to take part and get involved. But I suppose at the level that Salford are, that maybe, unfortunately, when kids are released from like Man City and Man United, you know, they'd probably be absolutely brilliant place for Salford City.
So that's the professional level. Obviously, that's a bit of a jump. But then there's, you know, there are a lot of coaches who listen to this that are with clubs and that are maybe a year or 2 ahead of us here. But it's still directors of clubs, owners of clubs. What should a youth club be doing with this age group? Should it be fun? Should they start competing? Talent ID, just let them play? Like, what's your best answer to advise coaches for that?
I mean, I think that it's wonderful that massive clubs, are already doing sort of these pre-academy development centres, and so we've had like quite a lot of boys already picked up by Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and Everton, and they take them to these development centres, and obviously it's all free, it's good coaching, and so that's absolutely like brilliant that they do it. I don't know how much they focused on fun and how much it's like really focusing on skill already. But yeah, I think it's great that they're doing it. I think solely at this age it should be totally fun. And here in England, obviously the FA say that kids shouldn't be playing matches until under sevens. So the under fives and under sixes that we coach, it's my opinion, and it's the same one with the FA, that they shouldn't really be playing matches yet. Especially not at under fives. Under sixes, it's okay if they was maybe playing once every other week or once a month, just to sort of start to get a feel for it, because obviously we do 3v3, and then at sevens it's 5v5, so 5v5 in big nets. So it'd be good at under sixes that they do matches, just to get them used to it. But I'd quite like, so we get a few scouts come down and have a look at our under fives, and then they take them to these development centres. And I'm comfortable with that, because like I say, it's good for the kids to get extra coaching. It's good coaching. It's free. What I'd like is for the clubs to, rather than just come down, sit there and scout, I'd really like it if they said, we'll come down, we'll scout, but actually we'll put a session on for you if you'd be happy with that. So say, for example, I'm coaching for Earlham Vale, and Manchester United scout rings me, and would like to come and look at your 5-year-old boys, that he comes down and actually puts a session on, because I think that community coaches and grassroots coaches would massively benefit from the clubs putting on the sessions, and then they see the standard of coaching, they see a session, they see what's appropriate for that age group. And also, if Manchester United say to, we're looking for dribblers, or we're looking for passes, or we're looking for this and that at this particular age group, then the coach can sort of work towards that as well.
That's a great idea. Great idea. What's the biggest challenge? What's the hardest thing?
I think at this sort of like entry level, the hardest thing is like age appropriate coaching, and that's really why I started the book, because I took my little cousin to a couple of clubs initially, and the very first session I remember they did, so he's 5 years old, put them onto a 7v7 pitch, but they did laps around the pitch for the warm up with like no ball, just run 3 laps around the pitch. That was the warm up.
Oh.
Yeah. Then in each corner of the pitch, one of them was one corner they were doing press ups. Then he did sit ups. They ran and did squats, and they ran and did star jumps. And I mean, these squats, you're 5 years old, you've never seen anything like it. Then after that, they had them in a row of like one boy on either side, like facing each other, and 6 in a row, 6 on this side, 6 on that side, and he was practicing throw-ins at 5 years old. So like that is like just like, it's just a huge challenge to raise like the bar at this entry level, that they don't need laps, they don't need conditioning, they don't need press ups or sit ups, they just need a ball each, a ball at the feet, and they just need to learn to dribble and learn to control. I think quite a few years back, I was working for Bolton Wanderers, and I went to an under 12s girls session, and it had been explained to me that they'd not done an awful lot of football before. So if I was to plan quite a basic session, so I was like, right, okay, I'll just practice passing. And the girls, they actually couldn't pass. They didn't have the technique to pass. So I thought, right, okay, I'll teach them the technique to pass. So I said, use the inside of your foot. And they just couldn't do it. And sort of like at that point, something just clicked in me that thought, actually, the entry level to football isn't passing. Everyone thinks, it's like because a 2-year-old, like that's what they do. They just smack the ball. But I think to get any technique, to get passing, to get shooting, you must be able to dribble first. And so at this age, the biggest challenge is just to get every kid just dribbling, just comfortable with the ball and just lots and lots of touches. So the biggest challenge is parents and dads that get involved, and obviously they do the best, but they're just volunteers and they don't quite understand what's age appropriate for 5 and 6 year olds. They've seen under 11s doing maybe practicing throw-ins or shooting drills, but it's just totally inappropriate for 5 and 6s. And like a lot of older kids, say like if you bring a book out and you say, right, this is a whole season's worth, like it probably won't be appropriate for that group the whole year round, because at 12 certain kids will be at different levels and they'll need different things. But at this age group, between 4 and 6, what I've noticed is the gap between the very worst player and the very best really isn't that much. And at that age, I think they all need the exact same thing, which is learning to dribble, learning to use both feet, learning to stop the ball on demand, because the amount of 5-year-olds that just run into the wall or run out of play, obviously it is a lot. And so I think that this is why that this book, should really do really well for this age group, because all 5 and 6 year olds need the same thing, whereas say like an 18-year-old obviously doesn't need the same thing as the next 18-year-old and the next one. They all need a whole host of different skills to be learned or techniques to be taught. But at 5 and 6, they pretty much all need the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic that your biggest challenge is coaching.
Yeah.
But that's the problem over here. Like I've just signed my 3-year-old up to introduction. Well, I lied. My wife signed my 3-year-old up to to be honest, I didn't want him to go, Chris, because I want them to enjoy the game first and then start to get into coaching. Yeah. But obviously there's a social side of it, and we want to expose them to that there. But my point is that I take him, and obviously I just keep my mouth shut, sit, enjoy it. But the level of coaching from parents is, it's infuriating.
Yeah.
They're trying to solve every problem. They're trying to, if the kid loses the ball and has a negative reaction, there's a dad that wants the game stopped so he can change the conditions of the game to get his kid the ball back. I come home and drop him off and put the smile on my face. I tell my wife, I'm disgusted by the parents.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's it. Like, and I think like another huge challenge, like you said, is just managing the expectation of the parents, because they come and they just think they're going to be the next Messi, the next Ronaldo, and if all of a sudden, he's still dribbling into the wall or he's still using his hands 4 weeks down the line, they're just like, can we not practice this or practice that? And I'm just like, nope, like, we have a structure, we have a system, we focus on these 7 things, judge us in a year, judge us in 2 years, because, we've seen it work, we know that it works. And so it is just about managing the parents' expectations and them jumping in. We had, like one dad, like, they're not playing enough matches, and I was thinking, they get half an hour, like they play for an hour, they get half an hour, what more do they need? But the standard of coaching at this particular age group is really important. I think, like, the FA, as good as the courses are, they don't really start at this age. They sort of start at under 7s, which is appropriate for the FA because that's when football starts. But it's a little bit short-sighted because there's all these grassroots teams and companies that do start them at 3 years old. So I think it's something that the FA, I suppose, never really thought about it until this moment, but they could actually look at, what should grassroots clubs, if they have a 4-year-old program or a 3-year-old program, what should they be coaching, what should they be teaching?
That's the problem, exactly. And that's why I don't want my kid, basically. I'm reluctant to let my child go to these events, because I don't care whether he wins, whether he loses, but I don't want him to come to me and say, this isn't fun. That's the reason, surely on the front side of it. I think Nick Levitt does a lot of work on this here, why people are dropping out.
Yeah, definitely. And, so obviously I've took like 2 of my cousins from 2-year-old all the way through, and don't have any children of my own yet. And so, like, So from my point of view at this particular minute in time, it's like, they just shouldn't be playing matches at 5 years old. They should wait till 7. But then I can conversely see it that if I did have a child of my own and I seen all these other teams playing matches at 5, playing matches at 6, you sort of feel that peer pressure to, right, everyone else is playing matches, so, we don't want him to miss out, we don't want him to lose out, let's get him into matches. But as soon as you start with matches, no matter what people say, it's competitive, it's competition, and at 5 years old, we've seen people arguing with the referees, coaches arguing with each other, and the 5, and it should just be totally and utterly about fun at that age group. So it is really hard, and I think it's up to the coach, wherever you go, that they demand that, the culture is fun first, love learning and laughing at that age, and not to let competition get in the way of what a 5-year-old really needs and wants, which is fun.
All right, last one for you. Where do you get your inspiration from? You mentioned a few people that you take things from. Where do you find your inspiration for your work and your creativity?
My inspiration, I suppose, just comes from making sure that the kids are always learning something new. So a lot of it started with us going into nurseries. So when we was making the games, obviously we wanted the games to be educational. So a lot of the nurseries found it appropriate as well. So it would be things like colour recognition, numeracy, literacy. So I've always had to be educational, but also at the same time, a lot of the early years foundation stage, 2 to 6 year olds, is just about play and having fun. And so we've always been inspired through play, really, and making sure that the kids are learning, but they're having fun at the same time. And like I say, we can, really make absolutely anything, any story fun, whether it's, Christmas cards, Snowman's Disco, penguins, pirates, just everything like that, really. The inspiration I suppose for the actual structure and what we was going to teach was Tom Byers. Soccer starts at home, like I say, using both feet, stopping the ball with the sole, shooting, turning in tricks, stuff like that. Yeah, and I suppose it's just been an inspiration to keep going, keep educating other coaches on the way, and hopefully one day, everyone, I suppose, at under 5s and under 6s will use the book and use the games.
Chris, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much to Chris for his time and his insight there. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's funny, I've never really looked at a coaching philosophy from that age group before. I've always thought that coaching philosophies really start whenever the game starts to become competitive, and I don't think I'm alone in probably thinking that the level that you're working at is always the most complex. I think that's just the way we think as coaches, whether it's working at the college level, whether it's working in club soccer, whether it's working in high school, or whether it's working at the professional level. We all think that there are so many variables that other people don't appreciate. So it's kind of good to take a step back there with Chris and kind of think, wow, that is really, really difficult to balance between that child's first experience in the game, such a powerful thing, and then also making sure that it's fun, making sure that it's enjoyable, making sure that you can facilitate the relationship between the parents and almost manage the parents as well. And he mentioned there about managing those expectations. And then I think something that we should probably look at a little bit more as more money goes to the top end in the game, especially in the UK, and we talk about the importance of development. Well, maybe can those clubs take a little bit more of a role, as Chris is saying there, in educating younger coaches, starting coach development programs, whatever it is, but maybe not looking at professionalising that age group, but certainly helping out a little bit more in the community. And from what it sounds, that would be really appreciated from coaches like Chris as well. So really enjoyed that, thought it was great. And then from a personal point of view, obviously going through this process with my son at the minute, I think about it a lot, especially when I'm driving there. What do I want from this environment with him? And sometimes I want it to be like the environments I had when I was growing up, and then sometimes I don't, and I go back and forth. So that's just me, and I'm just trying to look after one child in the car. So it's very, very difficult whenever you're thinking about 5, 6, 7, 20 children at once. My wife and I talk about what we want from the experience, and it's kind of interesting that she's not interested in soccer whatsoever, but she wants them to have a respect for the coach and respect for that figure of authority. So it becomes a teacher or it becomes a professor. She always wants that there because that was important in her household. And for me, I want them to respect the game. And we talked about that, and I didn't really articulate it before, but that's respecting the game for me means reacting the right way when you lose and dealing with all the setbacks that go with the game. That's finishing last in an exercise, or if it's not getting picked on a team, or if it's having a bad training session, just dealing with that. And I think that's where the game is at its strongest, is because it can teach you things that a little bit of resilience, a little bit of perseverance. And I don't know, maybe they're a bit too young for that. I'm not quite sure. There's definitely no book being written about the exact way you should become a soccer parent. But to go through that experience, I'm finding tough and difficult, but I'm also finding it really, really enjoyable. And it's making me think of some things that maybe I should be thinking of in my own philosophy with the older age groups as well. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that, as always, at Gary Curneen on Twitter, at Gary Curneen on Instagram. Really appreciate you listening to the podcast. Have a great week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Modern Soccer Coach Podcast. For more coaching topics, sessions, and resources, head on over to Coach Curneen on Facebook or visit the website at www.modernsoccercoach.com.